Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this explosive breakdown of one of the most jaw-dropping moments in daytime television history. Picture this, it's a crisp morning in New York City, the sun barely peeking over the Empire State Building, and the studios of Good Morning America are buzzing with the usual pre-show energy. Cameras are positioned, lights are blazing, and the audience is settling in for what they thought would be a lighthearted chat with country music superstar Blake Shelton. Fresh off his latest chart-topping album and riding high from his role as a coach on The Voice, Blake steps onto the set looking every bit the charming Oklahoma native, tall, broad-shouldered, with that signature red carpet smile and a casual button-down shirt rolled up at the sleeves. Host George Stephanopoulos, the silver-haired veteran known for his sharp intellect and unflinching interviews, greets him with a firm handshake and a nod to the crew. The band strikes up a quick intro tune, and the theme music swells as the cameras roll live to millions across America. What unfolds next, however, is nothing short of a television train wreck that has social media ablaze and headlines screaming from coast to coast. Blake Shelton, the easygoing king of country crooners, storms off the set after a heated clash with George Stephanopoulos, a confrontation so raw and unfiltered that it exposes cracks in the polished facade of morning show banter. This isn't just gossip, it's a seismic shift in how we view celebrity interviews, where the gloves come off and the truth hits harder than a steel guitar riff. As we dive deep into this shocking exit, we'll unpack the build-up, the blow-up, and the fallout that's left fans reeling and insiders whispering. Buckle up, because this story is as wild as a honky-tonk brawl, and we're just getting started on unraveling the layers of drama that turned a simple promo spot into pure pandemonium. From Blake's laid-back vibe clashing with George's probing style to the unspoken tensions simmering beneath the surface, every detail matters in this tale of tempers and triumphs denied. Stay tuned as we rewind the clock to that fateful segment and expose what really went down behind the smiles and spotlights. The interview kicks off on a high note, with George leaning into his chair, microphone in hand, and a stack of glossy photos from Blake's recent tour spread out on the coffee table between them. "Blake, welcome back to GMA," George says smoothly, his voice carrying that authoritative timbre that's anchored ABC for decades. "Your new single, Dirt Road Redemption, is climbing the charts faster than a pickup truck on a backcountry lane. Tell us, what's the inspiration behind those heartfelt lyrics about second chances and small-town regrets?" Blake chuckles, his deep baritone filling the studio as he adjusts his cowboy boots under the table. "Ah, George, you know me, it's all about those dusty memories from Tishomingo, where I grew up chasing fireflies and dodging tornado warnings. This one's for the folks who think they've lost their way but find it again under the stars." The audience applauds warmly, and for a moment, it feels like classic GMA magic, celebrity charm meets journalistic finesse. George nods appreciatively, flipping through notes on his tablet, before pivoting to Blake's personal life. "Speaking of redemption, you've been open about your journey post-divorce from Miranda Lambert and finding love again with Gwen Stefani. Fans adore that Hollywood country crossover. How's married life treating you these days?" Blake's eyes light up, and he launches into a heartfelt anecdote about surprise date nights at his ranch, complete with horseback rides and home-cooked barbecue. Laughter ripples through the crowd, and even the stagehands crack smiles off camera. But then, subtly at first, George's questions sharpen like a switchblade in the sunlight. He references a recent tabloid frenzy over Blake's alleged feud with fellow voice coaches, probing with, "Some say the show's turning into a pressure cooker, any truth to those backstage whispers?" Blake brushes it off with a grin, but the air thickens, charged with the kind of electricity that precedes a thunderstorm. Little do viewers know, this is the calm before the storm, the polite prelude to a clash that will shatter the set's serenity and send shockwaves through the entertainment world. As the segment clock ticks down, the real fireworks are just igniting, fueled by years of built-up frustrations in an industry that loves to pit stars against each other for ratings gold. Tension simmers as George, ever the master interviewer, decides to dig deeper, his eyes narrowing behind those signature glasses. "Blake, let's talk philanthropy. You're a big supporter of animal rescues, which is admirable. But there's been criticism lately about your Ole Red bar chain expanding into areas with strict animal welfare laws. Some activists are calling it hypocritical. How do you respond to that?" The question lands like a sucker punch, and Blake's easy smile falters for the first time, his jaw tightening as he sets down his coffee mug with a deliberate clink. The studio falls into a hushed anticipation, the audience leaning forward in their seats, sensing the shift from fluff to friction. "George, with all due respect," Blake starts, his Oklahoma drawl thickening with edge, "I've poured my heart and wallet into saving strays, over $1 million donated. You can't slap a label on a man's intentions based on some blog post from a keyboard warrior. George's response is measured but pointed. I'm just relaying what's out there, Blake. Transparency matters in 2025, especially with your influence. Fans want to know if the country boy image holds up under scrutiny. What was meant as a softball lob turns into a fastball to the ribs, and Blake's face flushes, his hands gripping the armrests. Off-mic whispers from producers urge a commercial break, but the live feed rolls on mercilessly. Blake fires back, scrutiny. I've been raked over coals more times than a pitmaster's brisket. Maybe instead of dredging up noise, we focus on the music that's uniting people, not dividing them. The exchange escalates, voices rising in a crescendo of clipped retorts, George defending journalistic duty, Blake decrying, gotcha, tactics that treat artists like piñatas. The crew exchanges uneasy glances, and a stage manager hovers just out of frame, ready to intervene. This isn't banter, it's a bona fide battlefield, where egos collide and the line between host and hunter blurs irreparably. Viewers at home clutch their remotes, hearts pounding as the once cozy couch becomes a combat zone, foreshadowing the dramatic departure that's about to make headlines hotter than a Nashville summer. The clash reaches fever pitch when George pulls out his ace, referencing a leaked email from Blake's team allegedly pressuring GMA for softer questions ahead of the promo. Is this the kind of behind-the-scenes maneuvering that's eroding trust in celebrity culture? He presses, holding up a printed screenshot that's more prop than proof. Blake's eyes widen in disbelief, then narrow to slits of fury. This isn't speculation, it's a personal betrayal, splashed across national TV without warning. That's a damn lie cooked up by someone with an axe to grind. Blake explodes, slamming his fist on the table hard enough to rattle the water glasses. The audience gasps collectively, a murmur rippling like wildfire through the crowd. George, unflappable on the surface, counters coolly, emotions run high, but facts don't lie, Blake. We're here for honest conversation. But honesty cuts both ways, and Blake, pushed to his breaking point, rises unsteadily, towering over the host like a storm cloud ready to burst. Honest, this ambush ain't conversation, it's a setup for clicks and controversy. I've given my blood, sweat, and soul to this business, and you repay it by dragging my name through the mud live on air. His voice booms, echoing off the studio walls, drowned only by the frantic signals from the control room. Crew members freeze, cameras capturing every vein-popping moment in unflinching HD. The segment's timer beeps insistently, but no one moves to cut away. It's too late, the damage too delicious for network execs salivating over viral potential. Blake paces a tight circle, pointing accusingly at George, who sits stone-faced, microphone limp in his hand. Insults fly like shrapnel. Corporate puppet, Blake snarls, ungrateful diva, George mutters under his breath, caught on a rogue lav mic. The studio morphs from cheerful morning haven to gladiatorial arena, with the audience as unwitting witnesses to a celebrity implosion. In this electric standoff, alliances shatter, and the raw underbelly of fame is laid bare, setting the stage for Blake's ultimate act of defiance that no one saw coming. In a blur of motion that leaves everyone stunned, Blake Shelton grabs his cowboy hat from the side table and bolts for the exit, his long strides eating up the distance to the studio doors. I'm done with this circus. He bellows over his shoulder, the words slicing through the stunned silence like a whip crack. George half rises, mouth agape in rare disarray, stammering, Blake, wait, let's talk this out, but it's futile, the country star's already shoving through the heavy doors, disappearing into the labyrinth of ABC hallways. Chaos erupts backstage. Producers shouting into headsets, interns scrambling for damage control, and the live audience erupting in a frenzy of whispers and phone cameras flashing like paparazzi lightning. The control booth hits the emergency fade to commercial, but not before the raw feed leaks online, snippets racing across Twitter, now X, like brush fire in dry grass. Blake, face thunderous, storms past bewildered staffers, knocking over a catering cart in his haste, sending coffee urns clattering to the floor in a caffeinated cascade. Security trails at a distance, unsure whether to escort or evade, while Blake's publicist sprints to catch up, phone glued to her ear, barking orders to spin the narrative. Outside, in the bustling plaza, Blake pauses under the GMA awning, chest heaving, the October chill biting at his exposed forearms. Reporters swarm like locusts, mics thrust forward. Blake, what happened in there? Is this the end of your GMA appearances? He wheels around, eyes blazing, but bites back a retort, climbing into a waiting black SUV that peels away into Manhattan traffic. Back in the studio, George smooths his tie, forcing a strained smile as the show resumes with weather updates, but the elephant in the room, or rather, the void where Blake sat, looms large. Crew whispers paint a picture of stunned disbelief. Did that really just happen? One grip mutters to a lighting tech. The abrupt exit isn't just a walkout, it's a statement, a mic drop heard round the world, amplifying every grievance in an industry rife with scripted sincerity. As the SUV merges onto the FDR drive, Blake slumps against the leather seat, the adrenaline crash hitting like a hangover, pondering the cost of candor in a town built on illusions. The aftermath crashes over the entertainment landscape like a Category 5 hurricane, with social media detonating in real-time fury and fascination. Within minutes, #Blake storms off trends worldwide, amassing over 5 million impressions as fans dissect every frame of the leaked clip. Country radio stations interrupt playlists to air hot takes, while TMZ dispatches helicopters for aerial shots of Blake's ranch retreat. Gwen Stefani tweets a cryptic heart emoji with a cowboy hat, fueling speculation of spousal solidarity, and fellow Voice alums like John Legend chime in with measured support, art over agendas, always. Network execs huddle in war rooms, debating apologies versus apologies not issued, as ratings spike 40% from the sheer spectacle. Blake holes up in Oklahoma, posting a single Instagram story, a black and white photo of his guitar against a sunset, captioned, "Truth over Trials," which garners 10 million likes and a torrent of blue-check endorsements from peers weary of media minefields. George, back at his anchor desk the next day, addresses the elephant with poise. Yesterday's interview was passionate, as they should be. We value Blake's voice and hope for more dialogues ahead. But skeptics cry foul, accusing GMA of staging for sweeps, while defenders hail it as peak journalism. Long-term ripples emerge. Blake's single surges to #1, proving scandal sells, and talk of a tell-all docuseries buzzes in Hollywood circles. Sponsors distance with polite press releases, yet Blake's authenticity burnishes his brand brighter than ever, turning outrage into opportunity. This clash isn't the end, it's a reckoning, reminding us that behind the glamour, stars are human, hosts are hunters, and television thrives on the thrill of the unpredictable. As Blake strums chords in solitude, the world watches, wondering if harmony can follow the discord. In the end, this shocking exit exposed not just tempers, but the fragile threads weaving fame's tapestry, stronger, perhaps, for being tested. What a ride it's been, folks. Until next time, keep your boots dusty and your truths unfiltered.